Hey everybody, Holly Warner here, coming back at you with some cholesterol discussions. The sassy carnivore, founder of Holly Warner Health, and all things that encompasses. Let's delve right into it, shall we? All right, let's talk about LDL and your immune system. I've had a few people that have said, hey, did I hear that right? Did you just say that LDL was good for my immune system? How's that work? Well, funny you should ask. There were actually some studies done on an elderly population. Now I'm talking about people who are about the age of 85 plus. This was done over a course of 10 years. And what they looked at was people's mortality rate. People with high, moderate, and low levels of cholesterol, specifically the bad kind, like LDL, and all the other ranges. What they found was fascinating. There was a low mortality rate with those that had the highest cholesterol ratings. Also, fun fact, what's something lethal to those of us in the older community? Pneumonia. Well, isn't that interesting? So, let's talk about the utilization of lipopolysaccharides. So, lipopolysaccharide utilization essentially means that the LDL molecule is mopping up a particular protein that the bacteria, being the pneumonia bacteria, is releasing, which is not good for us, which creates this inflammation, and then the inflammation becomes, pneumonia, we die. We're younger, we tend to bounce back from pneumonia quicker, but in the elderly population, not so much. So what they were finding is that, okay, it's lowering this inflammation, it's eating up this bacteria that's being released by this protein. Maybe elevated LDL in an elderly population is actually a good thing, which is why when patients come to me and they're over the age of, say, 65, and they have never had an issue with heart attack, heart disease, any of that, I tend to say, you know what, the elevated, I'm okay with it, because realistically, you're over the age of 50, you've never had a heart attack, you're good. Now we're gonna protect your brain health and look at your immune system and your gut and all of the things that are good. This LDL is essentially, the molecule is neutralizing the symptoms of the infection. It is neutralizing, it is sopping up, it is mopping up, and we call that lipopolysaccharide utilization. I know, big terms. I keep throwing it out there so that we get it. Another thing to look at is patients have been tested who are taking these TNF alpha blockers. So think like Humira and Remicade. These things, they suck. You have an increased risk of cancer and infection with them, which is all over the marketing that we see on the TV and the literature that your doctor gives you when they try to tell you that you should be taking this for Crohn's or various other issues. I'm not a fan. We've lost family members because of taking this. Cancer's no joke. The last thing I want to do is take a medication where the side effect is not going to be if I get cancer, but when I get cancer. So is there not something that I can do to not have to take these TNF blockers, these turmeric necrosis factor alpha blockers? Well, hang on. Studies are showing that a ketogenic diet and a carnivore diet and a high-fat, low-carb diet, especially carnivore, especially keto, do the exact same thing. They lower our TNF alpha. They block it. They're TNF alpha blockers. But we don't get the side effects of cancer and heightened risk of cancer cells and heightened risk of infection. I feel like that's a no-brainer, folks. Isn't that a win-win situation? I mean, call me crazy, but I would rather have the low to no risk rather than the elevated high risk. Now, yes, you can do things like LDN therapy. LDN is fantastic. That is low-dose naltrexone. We do that within my clinical practice. I have nurse practitioners and MDs on board who do prescribe this, which is fantastic for a number of different health issues. But for this carnivore and cholesterol kind of chit-chat on its own, what I wanted to go into was that the immunomodulators currently being used, they're reducing your ability, you, the host, the person taking it, to fight infection. You're not fighting off certain cancer cells. You've got increased risk with these drugs, yet you can get the same results without the negative implications by changing your diet. Now, personally, I don't think everybody does well on a ketogenic diet. I didn't do so great. Ashley does well, my partner, on a high fat, low carb. She also does well on carnivore. Myself, I do fantastic on carnivore, and I have the DNA testing to confirm. I've had my genetics done, which shows I thrive on red meat. So give me a steak and I'm a happy girl. Am I missing anything? I put some point forms up on my screen so I didn't miss anything important. I went over our TNF blockers, no side effects, yay, yay, screw the drugs, our lipopolysaccharide utilization with the LDL molecule, mopping it up. I think I covered everything we need to know. LDL is good for your immune system. Say it with me, folks. LDL makes me well. Woo! Okay, I'll probably be back tomorrow with more real talk about the carnivore diet and how cholesterol is not bad for you, your LDL is not killing you, and blowing more fiber myths while I'm at it. See you later.